Om 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 Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. बोलिए श्री चिन्मय सूर्य नारायण भगवान की जय। ओम सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमां अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरु परंपरां समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। We are looking into how to see with the vision of Vedanta, the title of the series, and the text we are going through is Sadhana Panchakam by Sri Adi Sankaracharya. Sadhana Panchakam is a series of 5 verses that give us some clarity on how we need to live our life in order to experience our own self, or in other words, to grow deeper in the spiritual path, which leads to self-realization. How we need to live our day-to-day life. And in the last week, we saw about food, not asking for special food, eating food for the sake of the disease of hunger, and whatever we receive in our life through our 5 senses, receive it as our prasada, the gift that we have that has been bestowed on us by Ishvara. The last verse, very, very important verses, each of the 5 verses. When we go through them, when we reflect on them, we will know in what all ways our energy is getting wasted in life, and we will know how to control those channels of energy. So the last verse is Ekante sukhamasyatam paratare chetas samadhiyatam purnatma susamikshyatam jagadidam tadbaditam drisyatam prakarma pravilapyatam chitibalad napyuttarai shlishyatam prarabdham tviha bhujyatam athapara brahmatmanasthiyatam. So one of the most important things we need to observe is to maintain tranquility in our atmosphere, or rather withdraw from the mainstream of crowd, people, the disturbances caused by people, and be alone. Be alone is not pushing people away from us, but even when we are surrounded by company, being in such a quiet state of mind where we experience our own quietness and tranquility within, rather than being disturbed by the situations outside. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Aratir Jana Samsadi. Do not have any kind of a rati or love for being in the community or gathering of people. Meaning, don't take, like it is talking about always wanting to be amidst people, so that, I like to be distracted by other noises, other voices, other happenings and other situations rather than focus on myself. That is the problem with people who always want to be in a group. We notice that sometimes when you're sitting alone with another person, that person may not want to sit with you for a long time, because sitting alone brings the mind to one point, and when the mind comes to one point, it reminds the mind of a state of sorrow, because when we are in a sorrowful state, we are not surrounded by many people. Laugh and the whole world laughs with you, and cry and you cry alone. So when we are in an alone, lonely state, it is a very negative suggestion that the mind gets, and the mind feels sorrowful because of that. And so you become very lonely. The feeling of loneliness is not a very preferred feeling. Loneliness is different from aloneness. Aloneness is a very rich feeling. I am the lone surveyor of all that I see. Alexander Selkirk, the man alone in an island. I am the master of all I survey. He is looking into the whole island and saying that he is alone in the whole island. So being alone and being free, being fearless is one state. But being lonely, feeling lonely, you can be alone in a crowd. You can feel lonely in a crowd also. Eka anta. Ekanta is a very beautiful word. Ekanta means aloneness. But why that word ekanta? Eka plus anta. Eka is I. Anta means end. In all directions, I alone am there. In all directions, the self alone is. So, whether we are in a crowd or whether we are staying alone, staying in the understanding that I alone am, or the self alone is, Brahman alone is to be in ekanta. You can be in the din of the marketplace, but you can enjoy the bliss of aloneness even in conversation with people, even when surrounded by milling crowds. You can experience aloneness, because that Brahman which is present everywhere, the Atman or I that is present in everybody, is one and the same in all. All plus one is alone. Ekante sukham asyatam. Experience joy in solitude. When you are being rejected by people, sometimes when you want to experience spiritual truths, the spiritual realization, and that intense desire is there for a mumukshu or one who wants to have the knowledge of the self, then automatically you will be pushed into situations, forced into situations where you are alone. So instead of complaining that why there is nobody with me, why am I alone all the time, why do I have to do everything all by myself, you just enjoy that period of aloneness and enjoy the wisdom that aloneness gives you. Ekante sukham, enjoy. Be happy with aloneness. Be friendly with aloneness. Sukham asyatam paratare chetaha samadhiyatam. Quieten your mind in the Supreme Lord. If you are not able to be alone, then you can have Bhagavan for your company, Ishvara for your company. Meditate on the glories of the Lord. Meditate on the glories of Rama. Meditate on the glories of Krishna. Meditate on the glories of Shiva. Meditate on the glories of Devi. You enjoy the presence, the company of the gods, of a god of your choice. Parataraha. If you want to take your mind outside, other than you, other than the self, or being alone, let your mind rest on some divine personality, on the Guru, on Ishvara, on Bhagavan. Chetaha sam adhiyatam. When you deposit your mind, or when you devote your mind to a higher goal, higher ideal, higher truth, something larger than yourself, a great personality, a divine personality, a God, or a Guru, mind will become quiet. In the Patanjali Yoga Sutra also, Patanjali Maharishi gives us 7 ways by which we can quieten the mind. One of the 7 ways, 2 of the 7 ways, Vitaraga Vishayam Va Chitta. That is, you can offer your mind to a higher altar, or to a person like a guru. The examples given by Sadashiva Brahmendra for that sutra is like Shuka Brahma Maharishi or others, but a guru, a master who is free of desires. When you offer your mind, then your mind will become quiet. Otherwise, your mind becomes quiet, yatha abhimata dhyanatva. When you are meditating on your favorite God, or on something that is very dear to you, that is very uplifting, then also your mind becomes quiet. Paratare chetaha samadhiyatam purna atma susamikshyatan. Sushtu, su means sushtu, sam means samyak, very well, ikshya means see. See very clearly. What to see very clearly? Everywhere and in everything, you are surrounded by nothing else other than that Purna Atma, the complete self. Whether it is a peacock feather, or whether it is a flower, or whether it is any object, whether it is a book or a piece of cloth, whatever it may be, everything, every object is resting in Brahman. Every situation is resting in Brahman. Every individual is resting in Brahman. All the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and space, are resting in Brahman. The mind is resting in Brahman. The intellect is resting in Brahman. Purna Atma. Purna Atma means individual Atma is I, myself. Purna Atma means the I that is in everybody. Everybody says I. Without a difference, people say I. Even the objects that cannot speak, if they can speak, they will say I, table or chair, if they can speak. The trees and plants, animals, if they can speak, they will say I. Otherwise, they experience the feeling of I. That is the reason why when a rabbit is chased by another animal, the rabbit runs because it has that feeling of I, and that I is in danger. So the rabbit runs. So that, see that Purna Atma everywhere. Purna Atma means the I that is within me, the I that is living as life within me, is the same I that is present everywhere. Purna Atma susamiksyatam jagad idam tat bhaditam drishyatam. This whole world that we see around us is nothing but a projection of that self. There is such a big body that is sitting here, but within that body, there is life. That life generates its own activities, runs its own system, because of which the brain is working, the heart is working, all systems and parts of the body are functioning, speech is happening, actions are happening because of that life. The body may be moving, but everything, the cause for everything is life. That life within is projecting this whole body. In the same way, all objects, There is some power within that is projecting this beautiful peacock feather. That is projecting these lovely peacock feathers. There is some power within that has projected the soil out of which this divine image of Sri Krishna has been made. So, every object in this universe, everything that we see here, taste, smell, and touch, is the projection of that self, aham. Purna Atma Susamikshatam Jagad Idam. Jagad means whatever is moving in this world is Jagat. This whole earth is moving, the solar system is moving, everything is moving around some fulcrum. What is that fulcrum? Nobody knows. But everything is Jagat. All that we can see, hear, taste, smell, touch, think, and feel, everything is Jagat. Purnatma Jagadidam Tadbhaditam Drishyatam. See that the self alone pervades everything, and whatever you experience in this world is only an impact caused by that self, by that existence. So learn to see that way. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, talks about jnana and jnaya. What is to be known is a self, and through what means you will know is jnana. It talks of many, many qualities, the quality of purity, the quality of humility, the quality of devotion to the Guru. So many qualities it talks about. Every quality that we acquire, we will be able to see the self clearly. In the same way, Jagadidam Tadbhaditam Drishyatam. Have that thought that everything is only a reflection of the self. This whole world that we see is a reflection of the self. And then, Prak Karma Pravilapyatam. We would have done so many actions in the past, in our past lives, in the present life, before today, before now. We would have done many actions. Those actions will bring results. Every action we do, suppose I'm doing this action of drinking water. It is not a very perfect example because as human beings, we have to drink water to survive. But suppose this is you can imagine, it's a cup of coffee. The action of drinking a cup of coffee, I experience presently the state of joy or sorrow by drinking a cup of coffee. That's one result of the action. The other result of the action is drinking that cup of coffee leaves an impression in me, in my chitta. Chitta means consciousness where there are impressions. There are objective impressions in my consciousness. That's called chitta. So drinking a cup of coffee and all the emotions and thoughts that are associated with it are stored in that memory chip called chitta. That's a second effect. And because of that second effect, constantly there is a wave of thought that emanates from that impression in the chitta. It says coffee, coffee. At that particular time of the day, on the hour, every hour, the vibration goes chitta, coffee, 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 drink coffee, I like coffee. This vibration is going on and on and on. Because this vibration is keeping the mind in a restless condition, the mind instructs the body to take action and go and get a cup of coffee and drink coffee. Because of that, the impression gets deeper. So the third action is, because the impression is there in the chitta, the mind is agitated and the mind makes the body to move constantly to fulfill that unfulfilled desire of drinking coffee. So these are the three things that happen whenever we do actions. When we do any action, these three things happen. First is the action that gives immediate pleasure or displeasure. Then the action leaves an impression. That impression leaves further results, further prods me to do further actions, which keeps producing, which keeps deepening the impression that I have. So it's like a cycle. This is called a karmic cycle. So conquer the effects of deeds done in earlier lives by present right actions. So how do I should be very aware of this. I should be very aware that in the consciousness, in the conscious, subconscious mind, chitta, there are impressions of my past actions. So constantly on a day-to-day basis, whether it's the Yoga Vasishta or the Amrita Bindu Upanishad, many texts of Vedanta talk about one very important thing is to purify the mind. Constantly engage in right action. When, suppose, in the past, if someone has lived a very corrupt life of receiving money through corruption, then they're not condemned forever to live the effects of that action. They can change their life today by consciously earning hard-earned money and consciously giving to others. Doing the right action will correct the wrong action. Suppose somebody has been living their life all the while by speaking lies, consciously making an effort to speak the truth on a day-to-day basis will correct the results of those earlier actions. And if somebody has been getting irritated and angry all the time, making a conscious effort to speak sweetly, to speak calmly, and speak without being disturbed will erase the impressions caused by unconscious angry talking and angry expressions. So, prakarma pravilapyatam. This is the way we erase our past karmas, the effect of our past karmas in the form of impressions in our mind by prakarma, good karma, which also includes upasana. Upasana means sitting close to the teacher, sitting close to Bhagavan, prayer by praying, by feeling contempt for whatever we have done and intensely desiring to correct ourselves. It's called paschatapam. We'd have done many things wrong, but feeling intensely about what we have done is a corrective measure. Then worship, puja, study of the scriptures. When we constantly study texts like Sadhana, Panchakam, and the other texts that we are going to continuously see in this series called Vision of Vedanta, when we are constantly thinking about all that, even then our impressions get dissolved. Then tapas, intensely increasing our meditation. Our tapasya means putting the body, mind, and intellect through difficult practices, not just the ordinary easy way of living, but trying to live in a different way, whereby the intense energy is generated and that can wipe out our past karmas. Then meditation is the most effective way. When we are intensely meditating on a daily basis, just imagine what happens before the session of meditation and after the session of meditation. Mountains and mountains of our past impressions are dissolved. So these are all the right actions that can erase. The final erasing happens only with the Guru's grace and Ishvara's grace and the complete effacement of all our vasanas goes when we get the knowledge of the self. But until then, until we have that experience of realization of what the self is, on a day-to-day basis, pratidinam manaha shuddhyatam. Cleanse your mind, clean your mind with these actions like reading the scriptures, worship, japa, puja, dhyana, going to temples, doing karma yoga. Karma yoga means doing work as a service to others without identification that I am the doer of the work and not expecting any particular result in form of any good feeling that I want because of the action. That is karma yoga. All these help us to efface our vasanas. Prakarma pravilapyatam. Vilapya means completely dissolve our karmas. I mean, we cannot do it by ourselves. It has to happen, but we can put in a little effort. When we take one step towards this process, then Bhagavan takes 10 steps towards us, or even 100 steps or 1,000 steps towards us to make that happen. Chitibalat na api uttaraihi shlishyatam. So once they say that once you take a dip in the Ganga, all your sins go away. But does it mean that once all our sins go away, then I can do whatever I want? No. Chitibalat prapyuttaraihi shlishyatam. Through my wisdom, through the knowledge gained about what happens when I do certain karmas, what is the effect of on my personality, what does it cost, what does it lead me to? It leads me to further births, and it leads me to experiencing sorrow in this present life. So, using that knowledge, na api uttaraihi shrishyata, may not engage in future actions that can lead to future births or that can lead to sorrow. Even in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, what is the purpose of yoga? Heyam dukkham anagatam. Heya means that has to be avoided. What can be avoided? Dukkham. Dukkha means sorrow. Anagata means what has not come now. Future sorrow can be avoided by practice of yoga and all the sadhanas. So what is that future sorrow? Future sorrow is a future birth in this body, in the human body on earth. So this human body is that which is given to us as a tool, a means by which we can wash our past, the effects of our past actions. We can dissolve our karmas. We can exhaust our desires and not give room for future desires, because as long as there are desires for something in this world, we are going to be born to experience the desire with a suitable body, in suitable conditions, to experience that particular desire. If you want to realize the self and experience the self and the self alone, then and you realize that the self alone is the source of all joy, there is going to be no permanent joy which can be gained from the world of objects, emotions, and thoughts. Then that knowledge will help me to not come again into this world. Nobody wants to study standard 10 again and again, or standard 9 again and again. They just want to enter into that class, they want to complete the syllabus, and they want to move on to the next standard. In the same way, we have entered into this world, and let us complete the syllabus we have. The syllabus is inside us in the form of our vasanas, the impressions, and our desires. May we fulfill our desires by doing the right actions and control the emergence of future desires, and whatever wrong actions we have done, may we do the right action and correct them. May we have devotion to the Ishvara and to the Guru, and with their grace work out the effacement of all our desires and our impressions, and may we gain the knowledge of the self, never to come back again. So we pass the whole class, we pass this whole syllabus in this earth school, and we don't have to be a failure or a failed student and study in this earth school again by taking another body and another life. Chitibalat prapyuktaraihi shrishyatam. And then, so you can efface the past karmas by the right actions. You can try to prevent future wrong actions with the right thinking. And then now in the present moment also we have to face so many things. What do we do? Now, whatever is called present moment is prarabdha. Prakarshena arabdha. Very well begun. So the example is prarabdha means whatever I have already started, I cannot avoid facing the result of that. I have already started studying for the exams. I have already written the exam, and I might not have written the exam well, so I may not be getting good marks. My report card is coming here, it is in my hands. I have not opened my report card. I cannot change anything in that report card at that moment. I have to open the report card and see with clear eyes what I have received and accept it completely. There is nothing else left for me to do except see that. So another example of prarabdha is a hunter is having a bow and arrow. He is having many arrows in the quiver. So that is the arrows in his quiver is his future action. The arrows are there in the quiver. The animals that he has shot and lying down dead on the ground is his past action. That is also done. He can do something about arrows in the quiver. He can do nothing about the animals that have gone. But there is an arrow in the present moment that the hunter is aiming at the animal, and he has released that arrow. He cannot do anything about what has released. If that arrow goes and hits a tiger, then a tiger falls down. And the hunter, this is just an example. You cannot kill these animals, endangered species and all that. But it's an example. He aims at a tiger, and so he will get the consequences of killing a tiger. But he aims at the tiger, the arrow has gone. Unfortunately, the tiger ran away and a cow is in the place of that arrow. And the cow happens to die. So it is the hunter will not get the results of killing a tiger. He will get the results of killing a cow. And he cannot complain about it because he has released the bow. He has released the arrow from the bow. Prarabdham tu iha bhujyatam. Whatever consequences one has to face for the actions that one has already done, the consequences are coming in the form of diseases in the body, pain, suffering in the situation, around when people around us are not interacting with us in the proper way. How do we know that we are facing a prarabdha? In our normal course of understanding, we say, all my prarabdha, what to do? It is not caused by somebody, it is caused by our own self, our own responses to the world. So if I want to put an end to this prarabdha, whatever I'm having, I should correct my responses right now to every situation that is happening to me, every situation that is thrown at me by this whole world, by the world of people, objects, and situations. When my response is when I'm constantly fine-tuning my response, then my prarabdha is getting exhausted completely. Instead of responding with anger, when I respond with understanding, then my prarabdha is slowly getting exhausted by accepting it completely. Prarabdham tu ika bhujyata. There's no way we can run away from our prarabdha karma or the results of the actions that we have already done, which is attacking us constantly. We cannot run away from it. We cannot wish it away. We cannot hide from it. We cannot postpone it. We cannot avert it. We have to face it and experience it and accept it completely and do the right thing so that our future prarabdha is always very good. Para Brahmatmana Asthiyata. So after doing all this, after clearing off the impressions in the mind by good actions, after eating the right food, after meditating, after remaining in silence, in seclusion, and all that, what is left to be done? Parabrahma Atmana Asthiyatam. Just stay in that thought and feeling that I am the Brahman. This I, the Atma, the I, not the individual I that is seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, thinking, feeling, but the I that is present in everybody as existence, as the power to know and the power to experience. That I is present everywhere, which is present in me. That I is Brahman. Aham Brahma Asmi. All the time, stay in that experience that I am Brahman. It is not for boasting about it to anybody. You cannot boast about air or space, I've got so much space around me. I've got so much of air around me. I've got so much of water around me. The whole of Puducherry, water is, you cannot boast about it. It belongs to everybody. In the same way, I am Brahman. There's nothing to boast about it because everybody is Brahman. Even ant is Brahman. Even a leaf is Brahman. Even dead leaf is Brahman. Even garbage is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. So it is the most silliest thing to be very proud about it. But when you realize that I am Brahman and sit in that acceptance with quietude, then you experience that oneness with this whole universe, oneness with all the beings in this universe, and oneness with all the situations in this universe. There is only acceptance in life after that. There is no rejection. You become one whole. You become a complete experience of the self. There is, you are a living experience of joyfulness. Para Brahmatmana Asthiyata. With this, with Guru's grace and Ishvara's grace, we complete these 5 verses from Sadhana Panchakam. We will go back and read the first verse again because any of these texts is not complete in itself. It is a repetitive experience that we go through where we pay attention to it, and the more deeper and deeper we pay attention, the closer and closer we get to our self with the grace of the Guru and grace of Ishvara. So let us complete with the chanting the first verse once more. Vedo nityamadhiyatam taduditam karmasvanushthiyatam teneshasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matistyajyatam papaughav paridhuyatam bhavasukhe doshonusandhiyatam आत्मेच्छा व्यवसीयतां निजगृहात् तूर्णं विनिर्गम्यताम्. ओम सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मंगलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा मृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हर नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि।